Once upon a time, in the heart of an ancient city where the mighty Benin Kingdom stood, there lived a young boy who seems no different from the rest. Born into a humble home, he faced the struggles of poverty like many others. His family toiled day and night, yet there was barely enough to eat. But this boy was different. From a young age, there was a fire in his eyes, a hunger not just for food, but for something greater, something unseen. Though he could not attend school regularly, he found wisdom in the world around him. He sold firewood, coconuts, and bananas just to survive. But deep in his heart, he knew his story was not meant to end in struggle. One day, as the sun set over the rooftops, casting golden hues across the land, the boy heard a voice, soft yet powerful, gentle yet commanding. It was not the voice of man, but the call of the divine. At just 17, he had an encounter that would change his life forever. With a heart open and a soul yearning, he surrendered. He embraced a new path, one that led him not just away from poverty, but into a destiny far greater than he had ever imagined. The boy, who once walked barefoot through the dusty roads of Benin City, now walked in the footsteps of giants, carrying a message that would shake the very foundation of his land. With nothing but faith as his guide, he began to speak to his family, to his friends, to anyone who would listen, and something miraculous happened. Where there was once despair, hope took root. Where there was once sickness, healing flowed. The boy's words carried power, and soon he was no longer speaking in small gatherings. His voice reached cities, nations, and even across the seas. He built not just churches, but schools, hospitals, and universities. He wrote books that opened the eyes of many to a new way of living, one where faith was not just a belief, but a force that could transform lives. But no great journey is without its storms. The leaders of the old ways resisted him. They called him a dreamer, a troublemaker. They say he was defying tradition, breaking boundaries that should not be crossed. But this man stood firm. He knew his mission was not from man, but from God. And so, like a mighty lion, he roared his message across the land. In the heart of Benin City, where the gods of old were honored with sacrifice, this man of faith arose. He was no king, no warrior, but his words carry a power that revealed the thunder. One day, he walked into the city square where the people bowed before carved idols, seeking protection. With a voice like a mighty wind, he declared, "The time of darkness is over. There is only one true God, and he does not dwell in wood or stone." The crowd gasped. The priests of the shrine turned to him, their face burning with anger. "Who dared insult the gods?" they roared. But the man did not flinch. He stepped forward, raised his hand, and called upon the name of Jesus. Suddenly, a great wind howled through the square. The ground trembled, and the shrine torches flickered and died. The people screamed, running in fear. Then, in the silence that followed, the man spoke again. The power you seek is not in lifeless idols. It is in the living God. That day, many abandoned their old ways. The priest, shaking but defied, warned him to stop, but he only smiled. Faith is not a beggar's staff, but a warrior's sword, he said. One fateful day, a cry of sorrow filled the air. A young boy, lifeless and cold, has been declared dead. His grieving mother carried his stiffed body, searching for help, until she arrived at a crusade where this man was preaching. The moment he saw her, his heart burned with divine confidence. He lifted the child. His voice thundered with authority. "In the name of Jesus, live," he said. A defiant silence followed. Then, suddenly, he gasped. The child's chest rose, eyes flitted open, and the crowd erupted in uncontrollable praise. "The dead has been raised," they shouted. But his battle was not only against death. The forces of darkness knew his name and feared it. Witches, who once ruled villages with terror, dared to challenge him. In one instance, a gathering of sorcerers held a demonic festival, boasting that no power could stop them. But this man of God stood before them and declared, "If I be a man of God, let your altars catch fire." At once, a mighty wind howled through the gathering, and before their very eyes, the idols, sacrifice, and shrine were consumed by flames from heaven. Panic struck the sorcerers as they fall on their knees, confessing the supremacy of Jesus Christ. Yet, this was only the beginning. In another moment of divine intervention, a government official had threatened to shut down his church, mocking his faith. But instead of begging, the man boldly prophesied, "Within 7 days, you shall know who sent me," he said. True to his words, that same official, gripped by a mysterious illness, returned within days, begging for forgiveness and surrendering his life to Christ. With every miracle, every act of faith, his influence spread beyond Africa to the world. Churches rose, leaders were trained, and millions came to know the power of God through his ministry. His words ignite flames in the heart of many. Young men and women rose, carrying his message beyond the borders of his homeland. Some became teachers, some became pastors, and others became builders of great institutions. Years passed, and the once poor boy became a leader whose influence could not be ignored. He worked in palaces, spoke to presidents, and mentored men who would later shape the future of Africa's faith. Among them were great names who would continue his work: leaders of vast congregations, builders of faith-filled nations. With God's wisdom, this man mentored many great men in the faith. Some of these great men are Pastor Enoch Adeboye of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Pastor Enoch Adeboye a highly influential figure in Nigerian Christianity, known for leading the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Bishop David Oyedepo, founder of the Living Faith Church Worldwide, aka Winners Chapel. And another prominent figure in the nation of Ghana was Bishop Dinkum Williams, founder of Action Chapel International. And then, one day, like the setting sun that lives behind a golden sky, his time on the earth came to an end. But he did not live in sorrow. No, he left behind a legacy that will never die. His story became a legend, passed down from generation to generation. And so, the man whose faith could not be ignored, the man who turned poverty into prosperity, the man who built not just churches, but a moment that transformed Africa. His name was Archbishop Benson Idahosa. And though he is no longer among us, his voice still echoes in the wind. His faith still moves mountains, and his story lives on in every heart that dares to believe.